Okay, JJ, get us started.
Well, Steve, you guys pick up the win in their first game of the season. What are just some of your takeaways?
Yeah, I really liked the way we started the game. It was terrific to see Parrish and Cedric get off to a good start. You know, those guys are going to be so important to our season, and didn't really know how they would respond in a game situation. We felt good about what they've been doing to this point. Feel like we've been practicing against ourselves for so long. We were curious to see how they would respond, how all of them would respond. But I was excited about the way we defended early, the way we took care of the basketball early, those two things in particular. Their player Horn's really, really good. We knew that. We knew he'd take a lot of shots. He knocked down 3 threes on us. A couple of them were pretty well contested, but that was about all they had going for a while. So there were a lot of positives in the first half. Different guys stepped up. You can see that we were able to play a lot of guys. And guys came in off the bench and contributed. I think in the first half, the bench did not turn it over, and there's something like 9 for 12 from field. So a lot of different guys stepping up, but certainly Parrish, it was good to see him get that. It's been a long time coming for him, you know, with the transfer and the waiver and waiting, and to finally get out there and play. I know he was excited and relieved. All our guys were so excited, you know, to get a game under our belt.
Coach, Eric's play in the first half, 19 points. Did you expect that out of him today?
Didn't know what to expect. I mean, he's a very versatile player, you know, and we don't need him to get 19 every game, 19 or 20, but it's just nice to know that he's capable of doing that. We knew that. He's terrific in the open court. You know, we're kind of hoping he was a gamer, and he showed that he is. But he can do a lot of different things. You know, he can rebound, he can start the break. He's a very good passer. But yeah, he's a scoring threat as well. And I was really glad to see him get some easy buckets there early and knock down some jump shots. I was very proud of him.
Do you guys anticipate him playing a big role on the defensive end too? What do you expect him to bring there?
Well, yes. Yeah, for sure. He's got great length and anticipation. He's a little bit unorthodox with his defensive technique. You know, he won't always be down low. He doesn't always have the right foot up. But he's got great anticipation, great length. Gets his hands on a lot of balls, deflects balls. You saw some of that tonight. Got some steals and deflections, and his length is just, you know, something we just haven't had a lot of is length on the wings. And he gives us a lot of that. So does Cedric. You know, those guys can both play the 3 or the 4. And when one of those guys is playing the 3, we get a much bigger lineup out there on the perimeter.
Yeah, and this was our first look at Cedric. What did you feel about how he brought to the game today?
Yeah, you know, Cedric defensively is one of our best overall defenders. He's versatile. He just covers a lot of ground. And I wish I had a better way of describing what he can do defensively, but he can guard multiple positions. He gets from point A to point B really, really quickly, and he's very committed. I mean, he wants to be a great defender, and he's coming from a program where in the University of Houston where they had no choice. I mean, that's a huge part of their identity over there, and he's brought that to our team. You know, he's one of those guys right there with Keaton and Zumbel. If we're in practice, we give up a couple buckets. You know, those 3 guys are rallying together and angry and mad and trying to right the ship. So when he steps between the lines, he gives us a real special presence on the defensive end, and he's a 3-point threat. You know, he can knock down threes. He can pass the ball. He can drive it. He's a big, strong, powerful guy. So hopefully he can bring a lot of different things to our program. But defensively, he's really special.
What was the strangest part of playing in the pandemic setup here today with a lot of things different from how a normal game would operate?
Yeah, there was during the course of the game, you keep looking down at the bench. The bench is all spread out, you know, getting ready to look down to somebody to sub them in and got to find out where they're sitting. It was one of the things we're going to have to figure out is how we're going to get a little more communication between me and the assistants. You know, usually I'm up quite a bit, you know, anyway, walking up and down. But when I do sit, you know, coaches are usually giving me some pretty good input, and that's a little harder. They're further away. I would have liked to have been able to communicate with them a little bit better with everything. You know, they just make suggestions, and sometimes it's on who we need to sub in. Sometimes it's on making adjustments on the fly, and we were missing that element just because we're so spread out.
Playing an afternoon game here with a limited crowd and no band and that sort of thing, how did the energy and the vibe compare to a typical season opener?
Yeah, once the game starts, I'm probably the wrong guy to ask. Players could probably give you a better answer on that. I really get locked in and don't notice a lot of that stuff at times. I notice when walking in prior to the game, if the band is in there, if we get a good student section, absolutely feel it. I can hear it from the locker room. So I don't want to say I don't notice it in that regard. Once the game starts, I get pretty dialed in. And players probably feed off the crowd certainly more than the coaches do. But our guys are so hungry to play, it didn't matter. It just didn't matter. Our guys had a terrific practice yesterday. They were disappointed when we got the news on Wednesday. We made the decision to hop on the bus and get back here, and they handled that very, very well. They kept their heads up and came in with a great practice, ton of energy yesterday, and they were hungry and ready to play today, so I was happy for them.
What's the timeline from here? When do you leave for the Valley?
As soon as we get showered up and get on the bus. We sent them out of here to go back and shower. All that kind of stuff is different too. The locker room, we're not supposed to be in that locker room very long. So we went in there and did our post-game thing and then tried to get them out of there. So they're going back to their apartments and dorms and shower up. And then we'll get some food and load up the bus and head south. And then watch a little film tonight. Tomorrow is a quick turnaround as well with an early game, so we won't get a shoot around. We don't have much preparation for UTRGV, which is unfortunate because they're a very unique style. They'll press and trap, and we would like to have had 2 or 3 days of practice to get ready for them. But there's going to be a lot of scenarios this year where we don't get what we want, so we just got to figure out the best way to respond.
Speaking of those scenarios, what are sort of the prospects now for rescheduling against Oklahoma? How do you guys approach that going forward?
A lot of moving parts with anytime you're trying to reschedule a game. But, yeah, we were in conversations already looking at some other dates. There's the issue of dates. There's the issue of the guarantee check, of the travel. We already paid to go up there to play, and we didn't get the game in. So if we return the game, we're going to have to pay to get up there again. There's always costs involved in those situations, those decisions. Both programs would like to play the game, and I appreciate their efforts to already look at some possible dates. Actually had a discussion with their ops guy about 2 hours before tip today, looking at a few possible games or possible dates down the road. If we can get up there and get that game in, we'd like to do it.
This is also the first time we talked to you since we got the news of Javon's suspension. What can you tell us about the factors that led to that, and is that a concern for you guys going forward from here? No concern. It was a 2-game suspension. Javon handled it very, very well. He's had an unbelievable preseason. His attitude has been fantastic. He and Keaton have just been fascinating to watch them grow into the kind of leaders they are now, vocal leaders in addition to being terrific players and guys that lead with their actions. But Javon's had a fantastic stretch here. It's been a long preseason. He's ready to go, and we look forward to having him back in the lineup. Is it fair to assume he's also out tomorrow since the game against Oklahoma doesn't count against that, or how are you approaching it?
We anticipate him playing tomorrow.
Gotcha. All right, thank you, Steve. Say hi to Lou Hill for me.
I will do that. Look forward to seeing them. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.